Hello summer, and hello sunshine, and hello to all of you. On today's episode of Wellness with KMH, we are going to be talking all about joy. I have been wanting to talk about this topic for a long time, so it's probably going to be a two-parter because there's a lot to discuss. Recently, I read the book Joyful by Ingrid Fetell, and honestly, Ingrid is a huge inspiration for today's episode, so I have to give her a little shout out. Her TED Talk and the link to her phenomenal blog will be linked in the show notes. But today we are going to be talking about Ingrid's Joyspotter guide, and by the end of the episode we are all going to be Joyspotter experts. So for starters, you may be asking, what exactly is a Joyspotter? So Joyspotters don't just fly through life. They take time to be present. They take time to enjoy the small things and see the joy in the ordinary that otherwise would go missed. So there is a 12-step guide to this, and we are just going to fly through these. So the first and the second is to look up and look down. Seems pretty simple, right? Unfortunately, we spend way more time than we're consciously aware of staring at screens, whether that be our phone, TV, a computer screen at work. We are locked in to a reality that is not the present moment more often than we care to realize. And so I'd say one of the biggest things that you can take away from this guide is to simply look around. It sounds simple, but if you take time to look down, you may notice that your pet is by your feet. You may notice that the person sitting next to you has really cute shoes on, just anything. And when you're looking up, you may see a beautiful sunrise or sunset. You may notice someone waving at you that you maybe would have missed if you were texting and walking. All the little things. And a bonus of looking up, it helps your posture. And there's been studies that show that when you increase your posture, you feel more confident, you have boosted energy levels, and there's actually signals to your brain that improve your overall mood. It's pretty cool. So number 3, keep an eye out for color. So I learned a new term in Ingrid's book, and it is called chromophobia. And that literally translates to fear of color. Yeah, that's a legitimate thing. And that may sound dramatic, but it's true. We feel that color is frivolous. We feel that if we want to be taken seriously, we better have a monochrome wardrobe, a monochrome office, a monochrome house. Color is for kids, and adults live in a grayscale world. But this is so far from the truth. Adults thrive on color just as much as kids do, and it's important that we incorporate it into our daily lives. And part of the issue of chromophobia is that there's literally just too many options. I mean, do you go with a pastel theme? Do you go with bold, vibrant hues? Like, there's so many different color palettes out there, and with apps like Pinterest or Instagram out there with endless streams of content, it can be pretty scary to make decisions, especially ones like painting walls or investing in a pair of pants you know you're gonna have for years. But I encourage you to get out of your comfort zone and experiment with color. It doesn't have to be the best color combination the first time. Feel it out. And know that things can always be changed on little to no budget. Colors can always change, so experiment, have fun with it. Okay, number 4, follow the curve. And there's some interesting science behind this one as well. So there's been studies that show that curved objects actually make us feel softer. They make us feel calmer. I mean, think about it. Things like bubbles and flowers are associated with joy. And you know what all these things have in common? They don't have rigid edges. So if you're feeling tense or anxious or otherwise unpleasant in your environment, maybe consider adding some more curves in. Okay, number 5, go where the wild things are. And you already know how I feel about that if you watched my first video. Get out in nature. It's as simple as that. Number 6, seek out symmetry. Now, you may be thinking, joy isn't symmetrical. Joy is sporadic. Joy is out of the box. And that's true. But there's comfort in patterns. There's comfort in things that match or are aesthetically pleasing. And that's what this one is getting at. Search for signs of abundance. Another interesting thing I learned, another tidbit, is a singular piece of confetti is called a confetto. I didn't even know there was a word for that. But when you think about it, if you have one little piece of confetti and you throw it up, it's not very joyful, is it? But if you have a whole handful, and I wish I had some with me right now, that would be so fun. But just envision with me that I have a handful of confetti and I throw it up. It's pretty joyful. Number 8, watch for weirdness. We all have our things that we find beautiful or we find interesting, the things that make us unique. For instance, with me, I love dandelions. I consciously know that they're a weed, but I think they're so pretty. And when I have a house of my own someday, I don't think I'll have the heart to mow them down because I find them beautiful. I find weeds beautiful. Okay, number 9, zoom in. Now, pretend every once in a while that you have a magnifying glass and look at something in a closer light than you normally would. For instance, when you're sitting outside, notice the little ants and ladybugs and whatever else is living move around. Notice the mannerisms of the people that you're around. Notice the behaviors of your pets. Just hone in a little more and get a little closer. Number 10, notice the invisible. Now, these are the little joys that honestly probably get taken for granted the most. It's that steam from your coffee that makes you feel so good, the warmth of the mug, the breeze through your hair on a hot day, things like that. Number 11, take the scenic route. Every once in a while, we all have the same route that we take to the grocery store, the same route to work. We all have our routines. Every once in a while, mix it up. If you go on a midday walk, try walking in a different direction. If you have a place that you drive to every day, maybe find a new road. If you enjoy going on a nightly bike ride, try out a different neighborhood. Just add little things into your day that are a little bit unexpected. Okay, and finally, number 12, use all of your senses. Okay, so like the coffee example I had earlier, freshly brewed coffee smells amazing. I honestly think just smelling it in the morning could wake me up, but I never do that because I love the taste too much. But yeah, taste, smell, hearing. Have you ever closed your eyes when you're outside and just listened to the rustling of the leaves, the birds chirping, water rushing? It is the most calming experience, and if you have not tried that in a natural setting, I highly recommend it. Okay, so congratulations, you're an official Joyspotter. And don't keep this to yourself. I mean, if you find little things throughout your day that bring you joy, chances are they'll bring others joy too. Take pictures of them. Tell stories about them. Don't keep it to yourself. Okay? And I will be back next month to likely also talk about joy because there's a lot of things we didn't get to today. But again, I want to do one more shout out to Ingrid Fetell Lee. She is honestly the queen of joy and so phenomenal. I highly recommend you look up her stuff. And thanks so much for listening. Keep finding joy in the ordinary. And I'll see you next month.